Hello, my name's Aaron, and this is my diverse populations presentation. The population that I decided to focus on was that of ex-convicts. I chose this population because there tend to be a lot of stipulations in order for this population to be able to reintegrate into society. Um, and I would imagine the hardest part of that is navigating through all the unspoken rules and the written rules as well. For example, one of the unspoken rules being not even an unspoken rules, it's more unspoken expectations and written expectations, such as their written being, obviously, if we reoffend, we go back to jail, and expectations from society or stereotypes, more is the more appropriate term, is that ex offenders are risky to employ because they may be aggressive, they're scary, they may reoffend or take everything from you. Um, but at the end of the day, we just have to realize the fact that this population tends to just start with a bad deck of cards anyway. For example, 40 to 70% of ex-offenders tend to not have a high school education or their high school dropouts, resulting in not even having the minimum requirements to in regards to education to fulfill a job description or to do a job. Therefore, they're already starting out lacking skills, lacking maybe even lacking the understanding of what people may be saying to them. Um, so, for example, they may not be able to obtain a everyday job, meaning they may end up doing things that are quote unquote considered under the table, and they may not qualify for tax exemptions, or it just may be really hard for them to really do anything a normal citizen of society is capable of. Another career consideration is that they may have limited training. They have limited training and work experience. They've been incarcerated, and that was discovered by Rackus and Young in 2000 and 2005. Um, yeah, just prior to being in prison, they just had lower rates of employment or employment skills. They have limited general skills as well, meaning they lack the career development and job seeking skills to even gain employment in the first place. They also have greater difficulty recognizing their own strengths and weaknesses, and like strengths, weaknesses, and interests. So half the time they just don't know what they really want to do. Um, they also lack the knowledge about creating a resumes or applying for jobs. So it tends to be a lot of depending on someone else to teach them a skill that they already should know according to society. Um, so they don't even have the job readiness, and for that to be able to do that, to be able to get that job readiness, once again, they may have to attend a program to teach them skills. Another thing is negative attitudes, it's expected to have a negative attitude when you come into the world after being incarcerated and just everything is against you, but you're expected to fit in this world that is not really the shape for your puzzle piece, if you may. And then also, last, like another thing is just general discrimination from even having a criminal record. You really just have to look for places that will even work with you. So already you come out the door once again limited. There's not as many options for you as we like there to be for them. And then once again with this very punitive society, I don't know. It's like an unwritten expectation that you learn from this, that you don't do it again. And as a result of all these things that we tend to struggle with, we tend to not be able to maintain the appropriate attitude. So it's just really just fighting an uphill battle. And once again, as they say, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. How can you do that when it's just impossible? Not necessarily impossible, but extremely hard to do for anyone. Um, and pardons in 2015 gave us that piece there. And lastly, I looked at a study provided to us by Marilyn Moses, and we did. This study is called "How Likely Are Ex-Offenders to Get Jobs?" So the basis of this study was they had two groups of people. Um, one group of people that were two groups of people. One, some that were posed as offenders and submitted jobs as offenders, and others that did not. And we came up with some interesting results. Some of those results being that people are more likely to hire a white offender than they are a black offender, even if that offender tend to have the worst results or a worse background. There's just a lot that goes into it. And in regards to what we can do for these people, this population, we can just be more open to reentry and understand that we don't want to be a punitive society towards these folks. Because if we really want to change things, we have to be willing to teach, learn, and understand, which takes patience, understanding, and just a community effort to make sure these people have the things that they need to be reintegrated into society. Because obviously they're given a second chance. We want to make that second chance something they could make use of and something that isn't so hard to obtain. But yeah, that's my presentation on ex-offenders and their career considerations. And thank you.